Tell me about my mother again, I asked Yorick, and I watched as he looked at me, rolling his eyes in mock horror. Again, surely you know her story off by heart, he said, faking disdain. Of course I do, I smiled at him. It was my sweet, angelic smile, which I saved for special occasions, like meeting nobility and when I wanted to get my own way. I know it off by heart, but you tell it so well, and I need cheering up. Yorick studied the chessboard carefully. He concentrated on the Black Knight and then pronounced, Knight to Mandarin 18. The pieces moved in answer. Shit! Red captures Black Knight, check, and game in 6 moves unless I do something. He tossed the Black Knight in his hand and studied me. I will tell you the story's beginning again. How I met your great-grandmère. He then carefully packed his pipe before lighting it with a reed from the fire. He took his time to prepare himself for the tale. First, he sat up straight and then coughed lightly, clearing his throat before he began. It was a pleasant spring day, and I was near the docks in the beautiful city of Cadiz. I was having an easy lunch with my friends. That is when I first saw her. She was the most beautiful woman I had ever seen, strange, dark, and exotic. She came from the New World, and I instantly loved her. She looked about 30 years of age or so, and yet, Yorick paused, for he had never known great-grandmère's actual age. She had eyes that looked like they had seen, well, all the beauty and all the evil in the world. He shook his skull slowly. It was a wonderful time in España. The discovery of the land on the far side of the ocean, the New Worlds, had made it possible for even a poor man to become as rich as a marquess. And yet, they were evil times too. It was the time of the Great Inquisition, a time where every man's soul was under scrutiny and opened wide before the eyes of the gods. We were both silent for a few moments as we reflected, for we too now knew the Inquisitors here in the kingdom. She called me over to her, with a flick of her eyes, like some women can, and my comrades jeered at me as I crossed the floor of the cantina. He stopped and looked at me. I waved my hand, encouraging him to continue. She looked at me for a long time, smiling, studying, assessing my worth. Then she said, How does your life reward you? I was puzzled by this, for I was a poorly educated soul in those days. Where are you bound for a young man? Nowhere in particular, I replied simply. But there are people what say that there are treasures to be found in these new worlds, and there is a ship leaving on the morning tide, heading for Tortuga in the Caribbean. So, life on the ocean wave, is it? Pirating for the king against the English, French and Dutch? Well, it's good money, and there are 3 squares a day, and a share of the booty too. Aye, should you survive. And she smiled at me, touching me gently on the arm. She seemed to be counting under her breath. You have a good heart, but it will not last forever. The hearts of men never do. Yet as your friends may die, I can protect you. How about a life full of happiness, with an endless stream of lovers, a life in the sun, by the sea, and never having to worry about gaining an income again? She asked me. This I will grant to you, if you will be in my service. She twiddled her fingers like someone making a cat's cradle, and then she kissed me. And I had never had such a kiss. It thrilled my very toes, and I felt my heart bursting with lust and desire. It was as if my very essence had been drawn through my soul and into hers. After a few magical moments, she told me, I have a seed that needs to be cared for. It needs tending and nurturing, and most importantly of all, it needs to be kept safe. If you do this thing for me, if you take my seed to Tortuga and nurture it there, then she kissed me again. Then I will give you all that you can desire, and an eternal life too. I will make you an immortal critter. You will be my seed's custodian, guardian, and defender. You will watch my seed grow. She will be my only child, and a very unique girl at that. She will be no more trouble to you than you deserve, and you will be her protector, and that of her child too, until 10 and 3 generations have passed. Sail with the morning tide, and I will meet you again, in Tortuga. There we will travel further west, until the west becomes the east, and the sun fills our souls with cherry blossoms. And with a dazzling flash of sunlight, she was gone.